In today's video, I'm gonna cover the 10 rules that I follow to not only lose fat, but to stay in shape year-round working as a management consultant. On average, management consultants tend to gain 10 pounds of fat within their first year working as a consultant. So if you are a consultant yourself, or if you are about to join the industry and you are a bit stressed on how can you keep up with your health and fitness, this video is exactly for you. To give you a little bit of a background about myself, my name is Lorenzo, I'm 26 years old and I've been into fitness for about 8 years now. I was the typical skinny fat kid and eventually I reached my dream body, and I've been helping many people do the same. So I've worked with many busy professionals, including management consultants, throughout these past years. At the same time, I have a very traditional educational background. I studied business management and then I did my master's in finance. And since then, I've accumulated 3 years of work experience, including management consulting. And overall, I've managed to keep up with a pretty good body, and I'm feeling pretty healthy, even though I'm working in this intense environment. So these are the 10 rules, guys. I'll go one by one, maybe 1-2 minutes per rule. I don't want the video to be too long. Let's just get into it. So number one, most important thing that you need to understand is you need to understand what drives fat loss, okay? And I'll try to keep it very simple and practical. Fat loss is very simple. You basically need to burn more than what you eat, meaning you are in a caloric deficit, okay? So first thing, you need to understand what are your maintenance calories, meaning the calories you need to consume to maintain your body weight. And nowadays you have many online calculators that can do this for you. You can simply type BMR calculator, and of course this will not be 100% accurate, but it will give you a rough estimate, a number you can start with. So in my case, my maintenance calories are about 2600. You calculate this number and then you aim to remove 200 to 300 calories from that to create a deficit, okay? So in my case, that would be anywhere from 2400 to 2300. Anything in this range, I'm gonna start losing weight. And of course, the bigger the deficit you create, the faster is the fat loss process. However, I don't really recommend creating too much of a deficit, especially if you're working in consulting, because the bigger the deficit, the hungrier you will be. So you need to find something that is sustainable for you in the long term, that you can sustain for a few weeks or months. So usually I prefer to take it slow and being able to do it in the long term, okay? So 200 to 300 calories of a deficit is perfectly fine. And of course, you then should be adjusting the calories along the weeks, because as you start losing fat, your body will get adjusted to the calories you're consuming, so you have to further adjust the calories. So this is really a game of numbers. Calories are made up of 3 macronutrients, which is protein, fats, and carbs. All of them are super important. All of them have their own functions, but protein is probably the one you should be more worried about, and especially if your goal is to lose fat, because it not only keeps you full, it helps you to maintain and even build muscle even if you are losing fat, and it will just improve your metabolism, okay? So how much protein should you consume? There are many studies, but what I suggest is about 1.6 to 2 grams per kg of body weight, or 0.7 to 1 per pound of body weight. In my case, I don't have a specific target every day, because I'm not walking around with a food scale checking how much protein I'm eating. I have a window that's between 130 and 160, and I try to fall in that window every day. So again, you don't have to be super precise, but have a minimum and a maximum range you should aim for. And just to give you some practical tips to hit your protein target, first of all, of course, the most basic one is to stick to protein-rich meals. So chicken, eggs, fish, Greek yogurt, cheese, milk, lentils. Then you can use supplements, protein powder. This will help out a lot. And another tip I can give you here is to always prioritize protein first when eating out or meal prepping. But I will touch on this a little bit later. But every time you have a meal, you need to be conscious that the meal has some sort of protein on it. And also important to mention, I didn't talk much about carbs and fats. Of course, these are important, but I don't think you should be worried about tracking those. As long as you are within your protein target and your calories target, you will naturally be able to eat a healthy amount of carbs and fats, okay? So I don't recommend you tracking this, because it will just give you an extra headache. Rule number 3, stick to simple and enjoyable and repeatable meals, okay? I see most consultants fail to stay consistent because of two main reasons. Either they are trying too hard and follow a very specific and complicated nutrition plan that maybe they can follow for a few days, but not in the long term, or because they simply eat randomly with no rules, with no guidelines, and their diet is a complete chaos. So I highly recommend that you keep things simple and you repeat meals you enjoy to make fat loss effortless. In my case, and what I recommend is find 2 to 3 go-to meals per category, let's say breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And yeah, rotate among those meals. And this will really help you because you don't need to be worrying about what are you gonna eat because you know exactly the 2 or 3 meals you have per category. Then you will know exactly how many calories and protein you'll be consuming with each of these meals because of repetition. And overall, it will just help you stay on track even when you are traveling or you have a very busy day or unpredictable day. Choose 2 or 3 meals per category. Can be homemade, can be takeout, because I know in consulting people tend to order a lot of food. So if you always pick the same 2 or 3 meals from the same 3 or 4 restaurants, it's much easier. And this way you can also pick foods that you like but that are healthy. And also something that I always recommend is to have snacks always with you. I know this is not realistic every day, but personally I love the big yogurt pots of 400 or 500 grams. A pot can have up to 40 to 50 grams of protein, so you can easily consume that. Maybe add a fruit. You have a snack that you can eat in 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes without any preparation. So you can eat while you work if you have to. So there are many ways that you can hit your protein targets and your calories targets if you follow these certain guidelines. Number 4, this is a big one. It's not mandatory, of course. I've been doing it for, well, almost 5 years or 6 years now. And it's been a game changing for me. So skipping breakfast or simply delaying your first meal will just make fat loss so much easier because you are reducing the numbers of meals you are having per day, and naturally your calorie intake will go down. So personally, I have 3 meals per day. I have lunch at around 12 p.m. Then I have a snack, as I said, the yogurt, for example, around 5 p.m. And then I have a big dinner at home. That's usually my 3 go-to meals. 80% of the time, I'm having these 3 meals a day. And of course, the timing of the meals can change a little bit here and there, but this is what I try to stick to most days. And the fasting really helps me to stay on track with this because, well, in the morning, I've realized a few years ago when I do not eat in the morning, I'm much more focused. So I don't have to think about eating or just, when you eat and you feel a bit sleepy. I have that a lot in the morning if I eat. Now I'm doing 12 to 14 hours of fast, so I usually have my last meal around 9 p.m. and I have lunch at 12 p.m. And during the fasting period, especially in the morning when I get to work or I work from home, I use a lot of 0-calorie beverages. So I drink a lot of sparkling water, regular water, of course, and black coffee. I'm a big fan of black coffee. I try to limit 3 cups a day, but yeah, I'm a bit of a caffeine addict, to be honest. And then when I have my first meal, I usually have a big lunch, very high in protein. Okay, so for example, 2 burger patties with 200 grams of rice. It's one of my favorite meals. We have a restaurant close to the office where I eat that at least 2 times a week. Pick 1 or 2 restaurants you like to and have a meal that you enjoy a lot and that you look forward to it every day. Now, rule number 5, prioritize whole, high volume foods to stay full. It's much easier to stay full, and not only that, you'll feel much healthier and more energized when you eat foods that are whole, non-processed, and just overall makes you feel much better in the long term. This picture, it's quite small, but I hope you can see it. 1,000 calories of junk food compared to 1,000 calories of whole foods. You see the difference. 1,000 calories of junk food, you will finish the meal and you'll probably still be hungry and not feel good. If you eat 1,000 calories of healthy food, the story is completely different. First, it's much more difficult to consume all of it. You'll feel much more fuller. You will not think about eating again for the next few hours. You are getting enough vitamins, minerals, and protein and so on. So overall, it makes much more sense that you go for whole foods. Highly encourage you to have one portion of vegetables per day at least and one fruit. Ideally, you should have more, but at least try to have one portion of vegetables of your choice and then one fruit. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I never have junk food. Of course I do. I love McDonald's, for example. I eat junk food every month for sure, more than once. The thing is, you need to find the balance. And what I like to do is 80% of the time I'm eating clean whole foods, and then 20% of the time I enjoy myself with junk food and so on. Yeah, you have to find something that works for you in the long term, okay? So it's important to find the balance, but of course, you should prioritize whole foods for most of the time. Rule number 6, and this is a big one for consultants that especially travel a lot and eat out a lot for business reasons or whatever. You can still stay on track without stressing over every meal, okay? Whenever you go to a restaurant and it's a new restaurant, you don't know the menu. First of all, always try to prioritize protein with the dish you are picking, okay? And control portion. Just stop eating when satisfied. Don't go until you are totally stuffed. Don't abuse on the entries. Don't get a dessert and a drink. That's a big tip I give you. Either go for dessert or drink, not both. Just avoid calories in drinks. If you want to drink a Coke, drink Coke Zero. So basically save as many calories as possible for the actual food you are consuming. And what I like to do personally in days that I know that I'll have a big dinner in a restaurant, I like to save even more calories throughout the day for that dinner. So let's say my lunch is usually 1000 calories. I will make my lunch maybe 600, 700 calories. So I have some room for extra calories for dinner. And yeah, this actually also works for when you're traveling, okay? It's all about making smart choices. Now, the next 3 rules are not so food related, but are more related to exercise. I have a lot of videos specifically talking about exercise, but I will not expand too much on this, but you should do 2 to 3 hours of strength training every week. I know it's difficult to have a consistent schedule every week, but you should find room to fit in 2 hours on your schedule. Even if it means splitting these 2 hours in 6 sessions, in 2 sessions, or even in one session. But yeah, lifting weights is essential not only for fat loss, but will also help you build muscle, improve your metabolism, improve your posture, and improve your overall body composition. Within these 2 hours or 3 hours of training, you should prioritize compound movements, which are exercises that target multiple muscle groups at once. And just pick exercises that you enjoy but that are effective. Don't waste time with bullshit exercises. Don't follow random routines. If you have very little time to go to the gym and if you use this time ineffectively, you are just wasting so much time and progress that you could achieve, okay? So yeah, if you want to learn more about training, I have a lot of videos talking about how can you train as a management consultant, but all in all, the main message is you should do strength training 2 to 3 hours per week, which is totally doable. It's like 1% of your weekly time. Moving on to rule number 8, walk more and stay active outside the gym. Of course, this is not a priority, but I really like to walk outside. I have a step target every day, which is 5K, and everything more than that is a bonus. But yeah, try to set a realistic daily target for you, even if it's 2 or 3K, but try to increase it over time. I know this is not possible for everyone, or yeah, that's why I really think this is an extra, but yeah, walk whenever possible. For example, take the stairs, walk during calls, or just go for a 10-15 minute walk after lunch if possible. Overall, this will just increase the calorie burn without adding any extra stress to your body. And honestly, mentally speaking, it feels good to stand up and go for a little walk after sitting for so many hours at your desk, okay? So I personally love to walk outside, and I average about 5K steps every day, which is not that much. It's doable, not every day, of course, but most of the days. Rule number 9, again, this is also optional, and here it's about cardio. So not just walking, but intentionally doing exercise through cardio. And what I mean by cardio is exercise that really elevates your heart rate way more than strength training. So of course, I want to mention and reinforce that strength training should be your priority, but whenever you have that extra time, even if it's just 20 minutes, it's super good and healthy for your body to do some cardio. This can be a run, can be, well, you can play any sports, football, basket, swimming, rowing, anything works, okay? Just find something that you enjoy, and you don't have to stick to a specific cardio exercise forever. You can play around a little bit. Right now, I've been doing a lot of running and I've been loving it. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah, even if you can only do 20 minutes, that's already very beneficial for you. So again, focus on your strength training 2 to 3 hours a week. And whenever you have the extra time, do some cardio. It will have massive health benefits, especially cardiovascular health, okay, which is super, super important, especially when you are sitting all day for many, many years. Finally, and the cherry on top, everything that I talked about will only work out if you stay consistent and play the long term game. This is common sense, but the true transformation will not happen overnight, especially when this is not your main priority. I'm assuming that if you're working as a consultant, your success in your career is your main priority. But of course, health and fitness should always be on top of your mind, because if you're feeling good and if you look good, you'll perform much better in every aspect of your life, including your career. So focus on habits, not quick fixes, okay? Don't go for crazy diets or crazy workout plans that you can maybe do for 1 or 2 weeks and then you give up. Take actions that are sustainable in the long term. Track your progress. I'm not saying that you need to be carrying a body weight scale, a food scale every day, but every once in a while track your progress. I like to measure, to weigh in myself 3 days a week, 2 3 days a week, and do an average and check if it's going up or down, and then I adjust my nutrition accordingly. And just be patient because results take time. It's not easy to get in shape. I know that's why very few people are in shape, especially in this industry. So yeah, stay consistent, be patient, and the results will come in. Okay, guys. Finally, I want to mention that I personally help management consultants get in shape. I've been through the process. I've helped many, many others do so. So if you want my help, if you want to maximize your progress in the gym and make things go much faster, book a call with me. I'll leave the link in the description. We'll have a discussion. We'll get to know each other and potentially work together if we are a good fit for each other. Okay, guys? So that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.